Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down one of the most foundational and, one of the most debated methods in education, the direct instruction model. It's a method that promises a really clear, efficient way to teach, and we're going to unpack exactly how it works. So, here's our game plan. We'll start with what this thing actually is. Then we'll walk through the 6 core steps. After that, we'll see how teachers can check on progress, dive into the debate around the model, and then wrap it all up with the big takeaway. All right, first things first. What are we really talking about here? Let's get right to the heart of this super-structured teaching method. That is a huge question, and most of the time, the answer is probably not. But when it comes to teaching specific skills and knowledge, the direct instruction model says, hey, we've got something pretty close to a formula, a clear blueprint for getting students from knowing nothing to really mastering something. At its core, direct instruction is all about being systematic and super explicit. The teacher is really in the driver's seat, guiding students step by step to make sure there's as little room for confusion as possible. It's especially good for those building block skills, things like basic reading and math. If you want to boil this entire philosophy down to just one phrase, this is it. I do, we do, you do. It's all about a gradual handoff of responsibility. Think of it like learning to ride a bike. First, the teacher shows you exactly how to do it. That's the I do. Then you practice together with their help. That's the we do. And finally, when you've got it, you're off on your own, the you do. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how does it actually work in a classroom? Well, let's walk through the 6 core steps of the model, which were really laid out by the researcher Barak Rosenshine. This is basically the engine of direct instruction. You can see right away this thing has a really logical flow. The sequence is not random at all. Each step is designed to build right on top of the last one. It's a structure that systematically makes it easier for the student's brain to process everything, creating a super clear path to mastering a new skill. So every single lesson kicks off by looking back before it moves forward. The daily review isn't just about boring repetition. It actually wakes up that prior knowledge, giving the new information a place to stick in the brain. Then the teacher lays out the objectives. No mystery, no guessing games. The goal is super clear. By the end of this, you'll be able to... This is that I do phase in full effect. The teacher presents the new concept, but here's the trick. It's broken down into small, bite-sized pieces. Our brains can only handle so much new information at once, right? So this respects that limit. And all along the way, the teacher is constantly asking questions, checking in, and making sure everyone's on board. All right, now we shift into we do. And honestly, this step is absolutely critical. It's the bridge that gets you from just watching the skill to actually doing it yourself. Students get to practice right there, with the teacher walking around, watching, and giving immediate, specific feedback. The whole point is to catch any little mistakes before they become bad habits. It's all about safe, supported practice. So once the teacher sees that students are getting the hang of it, it's time for the you do. This is where they practice on their own to build fluency and make the skill feel like second nature. This is called automaticity, and it's a huge deal because once a skill is automatic, it frees up your brain power to focus on more complex stuff later on. And those periodic reviews, they just make sure all this hard work actually sticks around for good.
So here's a big question. How does a teacher know if any of this is actually sticking? Well, with this model, assessment isn't some big test at the end. It's actually woven right into the process, creating what you could almost call a dance between the teacher and the student.
And you can really see this back and forth in action when you look at the roles everyone plays. During guided practice, for instance, the teacher is constantly assessing and giving feedback. At the same time, the student is actively trying things out and using that feedback to get better. It's this constant flowing exchange. Now look, direct instruction has some serious street cred, but it's not a magic wand. It's a very specific tool for a very specific job. And this is where the whole conversation gets really interesting. Let's take a look at the evidence and the debate. When you look at the research, it's pretty powerful. For teaching those well-defined foundational skills, this model just plain works. Study after study shows positive results. In fact, a massive study called Project Follow-Through, one of the biggest educational experiments ever, found that direct instruction got better results in skills, thinking, and even self-esteem than 8 other models. But here's the crucial part. It's all about using the right tool for the right job. Direct instruction is fantastic for what we call well-structured things, like how to solve a math equation or the rules of grammar. But for more fuzzy, ill-structured challenges, like analyzing a historical event or writing a creative story, that's where more open-ended, discovery-based approaches really shine. So here's the flip side, the main criticism you'll hear. It's possible for students to get really, really good at following a procedure without actually understanding the bigger picture. They might ace the test on a specific type of math problem, but then get totally stuck when they see a new problem that requires the same skill, but looks a little different. That's the challenge of transferring knowledge. And this quote from Gunter and his colleagues just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly sums up the balanced view. Direct instruction is an absolutely essential tool in a teacher's toolbox, for sure, but it shouldn't be the only tool. Great teaching is all about knowing which strategy to pull out for which student and for which specific goal. All right, let's bring it all home. What are the key things you really need to remember about the direct instruction model?
So these are the core components, the DNA of the model. It's always teacher-led. It always follows that I do, we do, you do handoff. It's built on small steps and lots of guided practice with instant feedback. The end goal is total mastery. And remember, its sweet spot is teaching those essential foundational skills that everything else is built on. In the end, direct instruction is a really powerful and proven framework. And understanding how it works, its strengths, and its limits, is key to seeing where it fits in the amazing, complex world of teaching and learning. It really is a blueprint for clarity and for mastery.
Hey, thanks so much for diving into this with us. If you want to go even deeper, you can find more information in these key sources.